Good day, everybody. I'm waiting for maybe a few more people to join in. You will notice that I have muted you, so you won't be able to speak. As we get close to the end, I will certainly unmute you. If you have any questions that you would like to ask or chat with me, then we can do so. There is a message system. So if you want to ask a message, I'm just seeing how the message system works. I had it at some point. Let me close that. Let's see. Message. Anyway, can't find the message system, so we'll start from there. So good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I don't know where you're joining from, but wherever you're joining from, I hope you are well. I hope you and your family are well during the lockdown. I have sat on my bum a lot more in the last 4 weeks than ever before. Even during my master's thesis, when I was typing up my research, I certainly didn't sit on my bum nearly as much as what I'm doing now. Not only that, I have certainly had to think a lot more about my posture in the last little while. I'm just checking here. There's someone else who's taking the video, and I want to make sure that make me host. Cancel. Why have they got the hiding on video participants? Can everyone see me? Ah, there we go. There's the chat. Yes. So you can all see me because I can't see anyone. Huh, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me. So I have certainly not only sat on my butt a lot more in the last 4 weeks, but I've certainly been thinking a lot more about my posture. And so that's what enticed me to create this talk today, is hopefully you have also thought a lot more about your posture. My way of thinking about my posture, unfortunately, has come because my back has hurt me a lot more than it normally does. And so that's prompted me to think more about my posture and to find different ways. What I have to tell you is sitting is certainly not what the body is designed to do. So if you have to sit, then you have to learn how to do it differently. So to start off the talk, this picture here that I have is a picture from my son's recent school tour. They went to the northwest of South Africa to a place called the Blyde River Canyon, and it's a beautiful picture. The water is crystal clear. You can not only swim in it, but you can drink in it. And so when I look at this picture, it reminds me of home, and hopefully soon I'll be able to get home. So if you have been sitting on your bum, I know that you are one of two people. And so the first type of person is you have some understanding of ergonomics, and you have attempted to do something about your posture. Or you have no idea about ergonomics, and you don't even know how to spell the word. So this talk will give you an understanding of ergonomics, but also to hopefully allow you to address your ergonomics. And what I challenge you to do is, after this talk, please take a picture of you sitting at your desk or wherever you're sitting and doing the work that you're doing. If you're watching TV and movies all day long, well, that's the easy one, because the ergonomics for slouching on the couch are terrible. But please get someone to take a picture from your side so that we can see your side profile, because that will give us an indication of how to help you. And I'm happy to offer anyone ergonomic advice as long as I get to see a picture of your workstation. So let's break down the word ergonomics. The word ergonomics is from Greek. We have ergon, which means work, and nomos, which means law. You put those together, the laws of work, or the science of work. In this time, we have to be at home, but hopefully during this time, you have attempted to be functional, to be effective. So ergonomics is truthfully how to work smartly for greater effectiveness. As we go into this talk, I will discuss why I believe ergonomics is important. But to start off with, the way you hold your spine is the way you allow the nerves to send the information to all parts of the body. I'm sure you felt, particularly if you sat in front of the computer the whole day, that by the end of the day, your eyes are square and you just cannot think anymore. I've not only sat in front of the computer, but I've also had my earphones on for a long period of time. And I just find by the end of the day, I am blotto. I can't think. I don't even know where to start. And so what I have found is as I've put in better ergonomics, I'm able to go longer through the day, concentrate better, and to be more effective. I'm just admitting someone else into the talk. Before I continue, I just want to say thank you very much. I have 13 people that are willing to listen to my rubbish. That's exciting. So thank you very much. So as we go into this, please think of ergonomics as what is going to help you to be more effective in whatever situation that you're in. Ergonomics is not just sitting ergonomics. If you are in the kitchen and you're cooking and cleaning, there is ergonomics that makes you more effective. If you are slouching on the couch, there is ergonomics that can make slouching on the couch more effective, if that's possible. But whatever you're doing, even as a chiropractor, when I'm working on patients, there is a way of controlling my body that allows me to be more effective. So keep that in mind as we go through. And as we get to the end, please feel free to ask questions specific to your situation. I will let you know that whatever your situation is, I guarantee that someone else is in a similar situation to you. So issue number one is people are in a posture or position, whether it be sitting or standing, for a prolonged period of time. Issue number two is people are sitting or standing or in a certain posture, but in a bad posture. Issue number three is you're not only sitting for prolonged periods of time in a bad posture, but you're not moving while you're doing that. And most of the time, people are working on a PC, which means that you are engrossed into the PC. What they've done research on is they've showed that people blink less when they're sitting in front of a computer. Not only do they blink less, but they don't actually have the ability to relax their body when they're working in front of a computer. So these are my four main areas that I want you to consider, particularly when you're talking about your own ergonomics. And as we go through this, I will give you the problems behind that and hopefully the solutions to that. I hope you have seen this picture before. If you haven't, have a good laugh now. But if you're brave enough to sit under this chair and hope that it doesn't break, you're going to have a great day. So the question at hand is, we had initially evolved in human species. However, with the advent of modern technology, as you can see, we have certainly gone back to our ape-like structures. And in terms of biomechanics, the ape is not designed through its pelvis, and hopefully you can see where my cursor is on the pelvis. The ape is not designed to be upright. When we look at the upright man, the pelvis is designed for upright. And not only that, the upright man, the head is designed to be above the pelvis, and the eye line is supposed to be horizontal to the horizon. So if you look at the advanced man crunched over the PC, you can see now the spine is certainly back in the rounded form of the ape, and the neck is then starting to crane. And so as a result of this, you have foot issues, knee issues, hip issues, spinal issues, shoulder, elbow, wrist issues, and neck issues. And I want you to consider that we're not evolving in terms of the function and the effectiveness of how this body works. And when people come to see me on a regular basis in my clinic, they're certainly not effective. Not only are they not effective, but they have pain and symptoms, and certainly ergonomics helps us to overcome that. So let's deal with the first one, sitting for prolonged periods of time. Let's come to the first picture. The first picture is someone standing. So when you're standing, you have 100% of your body weight going through the spine. So if you weigh 50 kilograms, you have 50 kilograms of weight coming through your spine. It makes sense. When you're lying down, because you don't have gravity pulling vertically on you from head to feet, you have gravity pulling vertically on you through all parts of your body. Now you only have 24% of your body weight going through the spine. When you're sitting, because your legs are not necessarily taking the weight, your spine is now taking 140% of your body weight. If you're sitting in a slouch posture, your spine now takes 190% of your body weight. The problem with this is you will put disc pressure between the third, fourth, fifth, and the sacrum. That disc pressure over long periods of time will lead to disc weakness and eventually to disc herniations and ruptures. And that is one of the main reasons why people come to see a chiropractor, is because they have back pain, disc herniation, pain down the leg, nerve entrapment, sciatica, one of those things. The problem with sitting is we weren't designed to sit for prolonged periods of time. And I always tell this story. Sitting came about when the kings and queens of Europe were overthrown, and the peasants now wanted to act like the king and queen. And so they wanted to get a chair instead of sitting like a peasant. So if you can sit like this, you have a lot less strain on your spine and your body. Now, most people in the Western world, their ankles, their knees, and their hips aren't able to manage this. And I challenge you, I challenge any one of you to sit like this for even as much as 2 minutes and then stand up. And if you can stand up smoothly and jump up and ready to run, then you've got good functionality through your ankles, your knees, and your hips. But most people, including myself, if I spend time in this position and then I try and stand up, then I feel the age that I'm at. So unfortunately, we haven't sat in this position and conditioned our body. Instead, we end up sitting like this, which puts pressure. And please realize, sitting is not a designed position for the body. So when it comes for sitting for prolonged periods of time, realize that your body is designed to move. The more you move, the more you create the function, the more you facilitate the function of all the systems in your body. The less you move, the less you help all the systems in your body to function correctly. Now, if you want, I can go through a lengthy conversation of showing to you and proving to you that each system is designed for movement. but let's just point out a couple. Number one, your energy system. Who feels like this gentleman on Monday morning or Sunday morning ready to go for work? Who feels like this gentleman when you have to get out of bed? Hopefully you want to feel like this gentleman, but most people end up feeling like this gentleman. And one of the reasons is you're not moving enough. Another negative effect of not moving enough is you end up having the world's problems sit on your shoulder. What we know is if you're in a stressed situation and you get up and you go and do some or other form of movement, I'm not asking you to go and exercise your backside off. I'm just asking you to go and move, even go for a walk. They have found in research that activity levels helps the person to get over the symptoms of stress and depression. The largest cause of disability in this world today is mental illness. And so I have seen an article today, actually, which it talked about the psychological impact of people being in lockdown and unfortunately confined to a room or a house and spending a large amount of time sitting. So being active helps you to deal with your psychological situations. And the last part, which I fear for a lot of people, is how much do you weigh? The less you move, the less energy you have. The less energy you have, the less your metabolism is building for you. The less your metabolism building for you, the more depressed you get. The more depressed you get, the more you start to eat. The more you start to eat, the cycle continues. And I find for a lot of people, this is going to be one of the biggest reasons for you to do something different in terms of your ergonomics. As a chiropractor, I am very interested in your spinal biomechanics, your body biomechanics. So this diagram here shows you whether you're sitting correctly or not. Now, most people, when they sit for prolonged periods of time, they will end up drifting off to one side. Or if they've got a phone and they put it between their ear while they're doing work, they are then creating this distortion in your body. In chiropractic, we look at your distorted pattern. We look at how the spine is aligned from the feet all the way into the pelvis, all the way through to the top of the head. Now, if you sit in the crunch position and then you straighten up, not a problem. But if you sit in a crunch position for prolonged periods of time, your body then not only distorts into that position, but stays in that distorted position. That then makes big challenges for us. And so what I ask you to look at is make sure that you're not sitting in a bad posture for prolonged periods of time, that you're mobile, that you can sit tall, you can bend this side, you can bend to that side. I'll tell you a funny story. I started to get neck pain on the left side of my shoulder, and it took me some time to realize why that was occurring. And it was occurring because I was showing sympathy to my patients when I was talking to them. And I'd go, "Oh, I'm sorry that you're in pain." And I would always do it this way and not do it that way. And so if I have 100 patients that I see in the day and I am showing sympathy to all 100 patients, can you imagine how I create problems on the one side of my neck, not to the other? So make sure that you're looking at your symmetries or your distortions in your body. And we can deal with that in more detail as we go. And then the last part is sitting in front of your computer or even standing in front of your computer. I know that after prolonged periods of time, it just gets so boring. And when I deal with my people that are studying, I always ask, are you doing your studying with, I love this work, I'm really excited studying, or you're going, oh my goodness, do I have to study this information? And most people that are dealing with boring stuff, they end up slouching into a bad posture. So now that I have contributed to your depression and to your negative feelings, let's raise our frequency and find a workable solution for you. And if you know my practice in South Africa, it's called the Spy Happiness. There is the happy guy amongst all the other guys. So first, practical solution. And if you haven't taken notes of anything that I've said, that's fine. But now should be the time that you take some notes. Take your phone out right now, and on your phone, there is a time, and you can see that my time is set for 30 minutes. So what I do is I set my phone onto 30 minutes, and I put it the other side of my workspace. I've got ear pods, which are Bluetooth, so even if the phone rings over there, I can answer it. If you can't, still put your phone the other side of the room, because if it rings, you still have to get up. And every 30 minutes, make sure you get up, you stand up. Even if all you do is stand up and sit back down, that is better than nothing. My advice is stand up, walk once around your desk. If you're excited, stand up, walk around your house. If you don't have a house, walk around your room. Just stand up every 30 minutes. If you've got a standing desk and a sitting desk, my advice is to change between them every 30 minutes. Number two is when you have stood up, please make sure you engage your spine. You can see these two muscles. These are your bum muscles or your gluteus maximus. And the gluteus maximus come to support the base of the spine. So I'm not going to do it now because you're all going to be looking at me, but I want you to do it in your own house. I promise I can't see anyone. So I want you to stand up where you are now. I want you to put your heels together, and I want you to try and squeeze your heels together. And you should feel that the base of your spine, your bum muscles, your glute muscles engage. That activates your postural muscles. What I want you to do now is I want you to control or tighten your tummy muscles and squeeze your bum muscles, tighten your tummy muscles at the same time. And you should find that that helps you to push yourself into a good posture. I have all of this information written down. It's also on my Instagram page, and I do have YouTube videos, so I can send you all that information. But every time you stand up, make sure you activate your spine before you sit down again. Anyone that knows me, they know that I carry my blue cushion around. My blue cushion allows me to move. I am ADD, I'm ADHD. That's why I buzz and I talk and I move so quickly. But I also like to move around. So while I'm talking, while I'm sitting, while I'm moving, I'm keeping my spine active. They have shown in research that a person who sits stationary versus a person who moves while they're sitting, there is a difference in the amount of calories burnt in the day. So even if you don't have a cushion like that, take a normal bed cushion or even a couch cushion and sit on that instead. That will do two things. It keeps the body mobile, but at the same time, it lifts you out of your spine. For most people, when they sit for prolonged periods of time, they end up compressing the base of the spine, as we've chatted. I did allude to it, and I'm going to say it again. I do think it's a good idea to have a standing workstation and a sitting workstation. Every 30 minutes, change between them. What works well as a standing workstation is your kitchen counter, or if you can be ingenious and set up a treadmill while you're working. I've not tried this, but I can imagine that I'd be too scared that I was going to fall onto my face while I was working, and then most likely pull the whole table and computer screen on top. But I like the picture. It was worth giving it a try. Let's come down to the fundamentals of if you are sitting. What are the things that you need to be aware of? What are the criteria and the rules that you need to be aware of? Rule number one is make sure everything is in front of you. I've seen a lot of people, they'll be turned off to one side and then they end up twisting their body. Not smart. Make sure that you are facing straight forward to what you're working on. Number two, do not stretch forward to reach to your computer screen, make sure your keyboard is underneath you, and so that you don't have to stretch forward. Because when you stretch forward, your chest automatically drops, your arms reach in front, your neck cranes like I've showed you in the previous pictures. I do not use my backrest. Do not use your backrest. God designed you to have a spine that was going to keep you upright. If you use the backrest, you're going to make your spine lazy. Number 4, make sure that you are keeping your pelvic floor, your abdominals, and your shoulders engaged. That means your bum muscles should be engaged to some extent, your tummy muscles should be engaged to some extent, and your shoulders should be pulled down and open. You should hold that for the 30 minutes that you're sitting. Now, most people after 10 minutes, boom, they slouch, but then reset the position. Number 5, keep your fingers open and try and keep your elbows, your arms straight. For a lot of people, they'll end up typing with their wrist in some or other bent position. And it's very common for people who spend time in a computer to get carpal tunnel syndrome. So make sure your arms are straight and your elbow bent at 90 degrees. That is what height your desk or your keyboard should be at. Oopsie. Where am I now? 6. Number 6. The top of the computer screen should be at eye level. That allows you to not look down at your screen, but to look straight ahead. I work on a laptop, but I've got a laptop lifting mechanism that allows the laptop to be lifted up so that it's at eye level. As you can see in this screen, in this picture, you can then keep your head directly above your shoulders and your head directly above your spine. That is vitally important. Number 7, please make sure you take note of all the important angles. Your spine should be 90 degrees to your hips. Your hips should be 90 degrees, the knee should be 90 degrees to your thigh, and the foot should be 90 degrees to the shin. The bottom part of the picture is not correct. I actually could not find a picture on the internet that showed that smartly. What has to happen is your feet should be able to rest on the floor. If your feet cannot rest on the floor, your chair is too high. If you cannot drop the chair without making the 90-degree angle here, then keep the chair where it is to get the 90-degree angle, and then have something, old books, your husband's head, or something that you can then stand on that makes sure that you have the 90-degree angle. I was just joking about the husband's head, okay? And the last thing is make sure that you stand up and walk around every time you have an opportunity. I make sure that every time I have a phone call, I stand up and do the phone call. I hope that I've given you some thoughts. I hope I've given you some ideas of how to do differently. We're running out of time. Oh my goodness, we've got 10 minutes left, so we've got some questions. So I'll ask, if you have some thoughts, please will you write to your questions. Where did I see the questions before? If there's any questions that you want to ask. But before we get into questions, I'd like to say planning is the key to success. It gives direction, a path, and makes us feel like we have something to aim for. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Sandra wants to unmute. All right, Sandra, I will unmute you. And if you can't unmute, then just ask and I'll unmute you. Yes, Sandra. All right, let me try again. Sandra. No, all right, let's try again. Let me try one more time. All right, I'm going to unmute everybody. Let's try that. Yes, Sandra.
Thank you, Travis, for your talk. Thank you for showing us our essence as a human. And for me, it's very clear. I'm physio, I'm working with Travis together with the patient, and it's very clear what you explained to us today. And I like the way you talk to us today, and I like the way you say very clear. We should move every 30 minutes, and we should move around. And some tips to move around, like for example with the phone, like if we have to talk by the phone to stand up. Very clear, and thank you so much for your information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Anyone else want to say anything? Everyone else want to ask a question? Last chance. Otherwise, I'm going to say goodbye and have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone, for attending the talk. Have a wonderful day. Spread the word, and God's blessing.
That's